guys, and welcome to MF Automotive, and this is the new highly anticipated Corvette C8, otherwise known famously as the mid-engine Corvette. For quite some time now, there have been speculations and rumors that Chevy was in the process of making a mid-engine Corvette, but we weren't really sure about that. That is until we saw prototypes running around, and that's when we got the confirmation that Chevy was actually going to make the mid-engine Corvette. Even though we were quite sure that a mid-engine Corvette was coming, we weren't sure when. Some people speculated that it would be in 2018, some said 2019, and in the meanwhile, Chevy went ahead and unveiled C7 generation ZR1 Corvette. After that, we were quite sure that that was the last iteration of the C7 Corvette, and the next would truly be the mid-engine Corvette. But one fateful day, we saw a Chevy executive driving a camouflage C8 around Manhattan, New York, with a date posted on the side, July 18th, 2019, which is today, and that's when we knew what day the vehicle would be unveiled. And here we are, we finally get to see the uncamouflaged Corvette C8. But enough talking about the past, let's talk about the vehicle itself, starting with the exterior styling. Up front, you can see we have these LED headlights, which look really nice, and also what I love about the front end are these cutouts in the front bumper made for cooling. Now traditionally in the past, because the Corvette was front engine, we had a very long hood, but because this new vehicle is mid-engined, we only have a trunk in the front, which is why the front end is very short. Moving on to the side profile of the vehicle, one detail that sticks out right away is that huge vent in the side that is carbon fiber accented and I believe is for cooling the engine. It stretches out from the driver's door all the way to the rear quarter panel. Also, this vehicle has those typical supercar proportions with the short front end and the elongated rear end to compensate for the rear engine. Now the back is probably one of the angles which I'm still warming up to. You can see we have these LED taillights which resemble what you see on the Camaro, and below that we have some vents which again I guess are for engine cooling, and below that we have our quad tailpipes. You can see we have this subtle decklit spoiler, and above that we have our glass engine cover so you can stare at your beautiful 6.2 liter V8. Now in the back is probably something else you weren't expecting. If you go ahead and lift the engine cover, you will find that there is a second trunk. Yes, in a mid-engine supercar. It is placed right behind the 6.2 liter V8, and even though it's not that big, at least there is some space to store your luggage. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the interior, where Chevy has also made some huge improvements. Now in the past, the Corvette has always been known to have the best interior, and Chevy did rectify that with the C7 generation, but it still wasn't up to par. But this new interior, Chevy promises, only has 4 main materials: aluminum, leather, carbon fiber, and suede. The styling of the interior itself is also very nice. You can see Chevy has gone for a driver-focused look, which I am a huge fan of. You can see we have this flat bottom steering wheel, which looks okay, and behind that we have a 12-inch gauge cluster, which is fully digital. The center stack is very simple, with the only things being seen are the climate vents and the infotainment screen. Chevy boasts that the only thing they place beside the infotainment screen is the volume knob because they know how important it is, and I agree with them. You can also see we have kind of this barrier between the driver and the passenger, and on that barrier is an array of buttons which are stacked vertically and are for the climate control. That is an interesting look and definitely unique. Chevy also claims that the interior will be highly configurable with options to choose your very own stitching, seatbelt, and interior colors. Last but not least, let's talk about basic specifications. The new Corvette will come with a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 which produces 495 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, and unfortunately we do not have an option for a manual. The new Corvette will go 0 to 60 in just 2.8 seconds, which is very impressive, and it will weigh just 3,400 pounds. And lastly, let's talk about the price. The new Corvette starts at just $100,000. That's totally unbelievable for a mid-engine supercar that can go 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. I think this new price bracket will bring a lot of new buyers who never really considered the Corvette in the past. Well guys, that wraps up my overview on the new mid-engine Corvette. If I ever have the opportunity to review this vehicle in the future, I'll be sure to bring you guys along for the ride. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like the new styling? If you don't, what would you change? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.